United States, inflation data for April was slightly softer than expected by market participants. The thinking is that the tariff effect has not been reflected so far in the hard data. Markets still see a restrictive Federal Reserve with 2 rate cuts in the year. JP Morgan economists now see the chance of a recession as less than 50% in the US, while Barclays economists no longer have recession in their US forecast at all. The S&P 500 clawed its way back into positive territory for the year as investors extended sharp gains seen in the previous session. The Nasdaq Composite also climbed 1.6%. Hello and welcome to Global Business Insights, where we look closer at headlines moving markets to equip viewers with perspectives on the peculiar business environment. Inflation in the United States, that is Consumer Price Index, declined to 2.3% on a yearly basis in April from 2.4% in March. This came in below the market expectation of 2.4%. Food prices were down 0.1%, with groceries dropping 0.4%. This is a category that Trump has been pointing to as he continues to call for Fed rate cuts. But inflation and the cost of services continue to be sticky, even though airfares continued to fall, which may help justify the Fed's wait-and-see approach to cutting interest rates. And though overall inflation is trending closer to the 2% target. Also, in the U.S., National Federation of Independent Business Small Business Optimism Index fell by 1.6 points in April to 95.8, also the second consecutive month below the 51-year average of 98. The uncertainty index also decreased 4 points from March to 92, but remained far above the historical average of 68. Also, the survey showed that 34% of business owners reported job openings they could not fill in April, down 6 points from March. NFIB Chief Economist Bill Dunkelberg says uncertainty continues to be a major impediment for small business owners in operating their business in April, affecting everything from hiring plans to investment decisions. Many U.S. technology firms yesterday announced artificial intelligence deals in the Middle East as U.S. President Trump secured $600 billion, some say up to $1 trillion in commitments from Saudi Arabia to U.S. companies. Among the biggest deals, Nvidia said it will sell hundreds of thousands of AI chips in Saudi Arabia, with the first tranche of 18,000 of its newest Blackwell chips going to Humane, an AI startup just launched by Saudi Arabia's Sovereign Wealth Fund, even as Saudi Arabia is positioning to be an AI hub in the region. Chip designer Advanced Micro Devices also announced a deal with Humane, saying it has formed a $10 billion collaboration. Indeed, it was a good day for Nvidia as Saudi Arabia pledged to buy its AI chips. Capitalization of Nvidia went above the $3 trillion mark for the first time in months, surpassing Apple briefly. Nvidia stock closed up 5.6% as at yesterday, pushing Nvidia's capitalization to nearly $3.2 trillion. Microsoft will cut 3% of its global workforce as it seeks to streamline operations and reduce layers of middle management. About 6,000 roles could be affected, including at international offices and wholly owned subsidiaries such as LinkedIn. The move followed performance-related job cuts this year that affected about 2,000 Microsoft employees. French uranium miner Orano said it had filed a lawsuit with the Niger courts over the arbitrary arrest, illegal detention, and unjust confiscation of property involving its staff and assets in the country. Niger and neighboring Mali and Burkina Faso have been stepping up pressures on foreign mining companies over the past year, seizing assets and removing permits as all three Sahel countries assert more sovereignty over their natural resources. And in Gabon, Tullow Oil PLC said yesterday that its unit, Tullow Gabon Limited, has agreed to sell its entire stake in Tullow Oil Gabon SA to Gabon Oil Company for $300 million in cash. The Central Bank of Nigeria, in collaboration with the Nigeria Interbank Settlement System, NIBSS, has officially launched the Non-Resident Bank Verification Number Platform, NRBVN. The new platform, unveiled yesterday, simplifies the process for Nigerians living abroad to obtain their bank verification number remotely, removing the need for in-person verification in Nigeria. The NRBVN initiative is also a major milestone to expand financial inclusion and integrate the Nigerian diaspora into the country's economic activities. According to recent data, remittance flows through formal channels increased from $3.3 billion in 2023 to $4.73 billion in 2024, largely due to reforms such as the introduction of the willing buyer, willing seller foreign exchange regime. This initiative, that's the NRBVN, is expected to further increase remittance flows. The central bank has given notice of the 300th meeting of the Monetary Policy Committee to hold on the 19th and 20th of May. That's next week. And we do expect the April CPI data, that's for Nigeria this week, and that is likely to provide clues on how the MPC, Monetary Policy Committee, will decide. The committee of the Central Bank of Nigeria voted unanimously at the previous meeting to retain the monetary policy rate, which is the baseline lending rate, at 27.5%. Still in Nigeria, in a bold move to accelerate green economic growth, the Honorable Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Mr. Wale Edu, yesterday met with a high-level delegation from the Nigeria Sovereign Investment Authority, the National Council on Climate Change, and the Green Climate Fund to advance the Nigerian Climate Investment Platform, NCIP. The new platform, the Nigerian Climate Investment Platform, is a country-led, transparently governed vehicle designed to mobilize up to $500 million in climate finance for infrastructure, resilience, and adaptation projects. Marks & Spencer says some personal customer data was stolen in the recent cyber attack, which could include telephone numbers, home addresses, and dates of birth. The high street giant said the personal information taken could also include online order histories, but added the data theft did not include usable payment or card details or any account passwords. M&S was hit by the cyber attack 3 weeks ago and is still struggling to get services back to normal, with online orders still suspended. How do you protect your organization from cyber attacks? There are some effective strategies. Prevention strategies, for example, include investing in reliable cybersecurity software and implementing robust antivirus and anti-malware solutions to detect and block threats. Also using strong passwords and robust authentication processes. On network security, you need to use a firewall and implement intrusion detection and prevention systems, and so on. Staff should also be provided with cybersecurity training and employees educated on cybersecurity practices, phishing attacks, and password management, and conduct of regular security awareness programs also recommended. On a more strategic level, according to an Accenture survey on cybersecurity, trends. The best practice is to convert cybersecurity from an incident-driven reaction into part of the fabric of transformation efforts, which helps organizations to boost their cybersecurity resilience as they position themselves to reinvent the enterprise. In short, cyber transformers are much more likely to experience more effective digital transformations than their peers. It's only a matter of time before markets identify and penalize less cyber secure operations in their valuations. Marks and Spencer was not the only retailer affected. The Co-op, which experienced a similar attack, is expected to resume online deliveries perhaps today. M&S is also reported to have told suppliers to prepare for online services to soon resume. The inflation rate in Germany, change in consumer price index year-on-year, was up 2.1% in April 2025. Inflation has been weakening since the beginning of the year. In March, it was 2.2%, while in January and February 2025, it was 2.3%. Inflation in goods eased sharply to 0.5% from 1.0% in March due to a steep fall in energy prices as well as softer rise in food costs. In contrast, April services inflation accelerated to a 3-month high of 3.9% from 3.5%. British luxury brand Burberry shares jumped 9% after it reported operating profit for its full year ending March 29, beating expectations. It also said it would cut 1,700 jobs globally as it cuts fat to further improve profits. Led by CEO Joshua Schulman, Burberry narrowly avoided a loss for its 2025 financial year with a profit of £26 million, beating analysts' estimate of £11 million. Revenue of Chinese conglomerate Tencent rose 13% year-on-year, beating estimates in Q1, fueled by accelerated growth in its key gaming business. Revenue was 180.02 billion Chinese yuan, that's $25 billion, versus 174.63 billion yuan expected. Net profit up 14% at 47.8 billion yuan versus 52.2 billion yuan expected. Taiwan's Foxconn, the world's largest contract electronics maker, announced that Q1 profit was up 91%. Net profit for Apple's top iPhone assembler and Nvidia server maker came in at $1.4 billion. That's 42.12 Taiwan dollars versus estimate of 37.8 billion Taiwan dollars and compared with 22.01 billion Taiwan dollars a year earlier. This was due to strong demand for artificial intelligence servers. Samsung Electronics will acquire all shares of German-based Flacht Group, a leading heating and cooling solutions provider, for 1.5 billion euros. The acquisition reinforces commitment to Samsung heating, ventilation and air conditioning business as the market experiences rapid growth in that sector. Asia-Pacific markets traded higher after Wall Street benchmarks closed mostly higher on easing US-China trade tensions. Also, as lower than expected inflation in the US kept hopes of rate cuts alive. China has criticized the trade deal between the UK and US, claiming it could be used to squeeze Chinese products out of British supply chains and complicates London's efforts to rebuild relations with Beijing. Well, that's it on this edition of Global Business Insights. Thanks for watching. This is Bode Oshosami. Bye-bye.